Welcome to Camp Dreamtree. Hi everyone, I'm Corinne.
And I'm Roy.
And today we're going to be making a upcycled journal. So, Roy, what is an upcycled journal?
Well, it is where you take an already made book that has binding and you remove the pages that are inside and you put in your own pages and you decorate it and you make it for a particular purpose or no purpose, and you make it your own.
Okay, you make it your own.
Right? And examples?
Sure, we have examples. What is a journal? A journal is like a place where you can write ideas and things.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a dream journal.
Sometimes it's a dream journal, for sure. Sometimes it's a journal where you have just like thoughts about things that you want to create. Sometimes it's a journal where you just draw pictures, or maybe you write your own stories.
Or it's a field guide where you go outside and you collect information. Sometimes that information are drawings, or sometimes leaves and examples of things from nature, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a field guide for nature.
No.
A lot of people are really into architecture and they collect information about a city or a different village that they're in, or places where they go and visit.
Yeah, where
right?
they travel.
A travel journal.
Yeah. You could make a journal of all the books you've been reading.
Oh, yeah.
Or about different animals that you've been learning about. Maybe places you want to go in the future. You could make this kind of like future travel journal. But the most important part is that it's this place where you can store things, right? Like store these ideas, collect tiny objects or pieces of paper or photographs and keep them in there.
Like a collage journal.
It could be a collage journal. I like
or an
that.
Inspiration journal where you keep ideas that you really like or examples of things that you really like.
Yeah, that's good. And what is upcycling?
Upcycling is when you take an object that is going to find its way to a recycling bin or a trash bin and you use it for a different purpose.
Yeah.
You make it have a new life.
Yeah. Sometimes I think about people just taking stuff like this. Like this used to have enchilada sauce in it, or a can of beans.
Yeah. So
and
that's a simple example.
This is a really simple example of just transitioning it into another purpose. I could cover this, I could collage this though.
Oh yeah.
Right? I could cover this in a bunch of different tapes if I wanted to. And that's kind of what we're going to be doing today, is we're going to be decorating in order to bring something into a new level, right? Make it our own. That's the main goal today, is that we're going to make something that's totally our own. And
so what do we have?
Yeah, we have a lot of things. You need supplies. So if you got a Dream Scout kit, you can open that up. Hopefully you've already opened that up and you've been participating. But go through there and see if there's some books in there that are old library books or donated books that we're heading towards the trash bin. You're going to need probably your sticker sheet. This is optional, but it's a good idea to have it.
Maybe even your coloring pages.
Ooh, yeah, you could totally use your coloring pages.
Coloring pages you can download right off of the website.
Oh yeah,
right?
So if you mess one up or you need a bunch of iStars, right, you could download a couple and print them out and color them in different colors. That could be really fun. There's a push pin in your kit. If you didn't get a kit, you're going to want something that can make holes, and it can be a nice fat needle, or it can be a thin nail, or it can be a push pin. I really like a push pin because it's not so hard on your fingers, right? A needle can really push into your fingers. There's going to be some little thread like this. This is waxed thread that's used for binding, and that's a special word when you make books that's all about sewing books together.
You're tying them together.
You're binding two things together. We did not include glue in the kits, but if you have a glue or a glue stick, you may want something along these lines. You should have tapes.
Yeah, if you don't have glue, you can use tape, because really all you need to do is to be able to tack something down. It doesn't have to be fully glued down, because we're going to use contact paper on top of all of that.
Which is like a giant piece of tape that is super fun.
Yeah. And contact paper is the type of thing that you get at
Anywhere. You can get it at,
99-cent store.
Yeah, even the grocery store.
Oh, sure.
And you know what it's for? It's for lining drawers and cabinets and things. So your parents may actually have some at the house, or you if you are just a human of an age who has put things into your drawers. You've lined your drawers before. So there might be some in the house. But the washi tapes you can also use just for decoration. So you can think about these as color and pattern within your collage as well. We mentioned that you're going to need this little guy.
Maybe you're into embroidery, so maybe you have some embroidery floss. You can use that.
Especially if you didn't get a kit or you would like to try a different color, right, when we get to binding. If you have neither thing, may have floss at home, and floss is a great tool to use for binding because it's actually covered in wax already, and that's exactly what this string is as well, is it's covered in wax.
And maybe you have brads, right? These are used to put documents together, and this is exactly what you're going to be doing, is
putting papers together
on them.
We're going to be going over different ways to actually put your pages together. So if you don't have certain things, you could always watch and decide, okay, stapling is going to be easiest for me. That brings up clips. When we are working on our pages, you're going to want some way to hold all of your papers together. A bulldog clip, a paper clip. Yeah, anything, a clothespin.
We have these big guys.
What's the other word for binder clips? Binder clip is the other word for bulldog clip. And if you have no clips, we know you have tape. So you can use tape to hold your pages together as well.
You want scissors?
You should have received a little pair of scissors like this if you have a kit. Oh, I just saw that these have measurements on them. There's 4 full centimeters on these.
Inches.
No, centimeters.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Centimeters.
Your little scissors.
And then these other tapes, right? This is a common tape that a lot of people have. It's used for painting your house, but you can use it for all kinds of things. Lots of people have duct tape. This is the most common color of duct tape, but we also have, here's a colored one. You can find that at many stores now. Here's a fun masking tape that has
those are
a ruler on there. These are
inches. And then there should be 3 sheets of contact paper and yours are actually not rolled. They're folded, but that's okay because we're going to actually fold around our book. So you can sort of use those folds to your advantage. And then the other thing you might want are materials for making collage. So I have a little stack here. I have a magazine that I'm going to go through. I have some stickers. I guess I have 3 magazines. I have some colored paper over here. Colored paper is fun because you can just cut it into any shape you need. And I even have another old book that we've ruined. So maybe you know this book, The Grouchy Ladybug.
I think it just fell apart on us.
It did really fall apart on us. And we have all these really fun pages. And I was thinking, Eric Carle, he collages. That's how he makes all of his images. Right. So how neat would it be to use something that's already collaged to then cut up and make another collage?
And it has big fields like
of
that.
Color, yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a whale. You can just use part of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he made these on big pieces of paper and then cut them into these shapes. And that's exactly what you can do. So if you need a blue cloud, you can just find some blue and then make a blue cloud. And I think that's everything. If you don't have a book, an old book, you can also use things like a cereal box or a crackers box, just as kind of like tag board. You could even cut up cardboard from a delivery or storage box.
And if you don't want this to show because it's a box for something else, then what you can do is you can glue these two pieces together. What I would do is cut this apart. Right, and then you put your glue down here. Oops, some actually came out. And then you can glue these together. And you're going to want to do this overnight, ideally.
Yeah, if you glue things together like that, you need to give yourself at least a day, and you want to put them under weight.
So big
so
books
that they
would
dry
work
really nice
well.
and flat. Big books work really well.
And then you have a nice clean surface that you can collage onto or
Yep.
draw directly
onto. Definitely. Okay, so if you don't already have your supplies out, now is the time to pause this and go and get your supplies. Remember, if you're going to be cutting something up, you need to ask before you cut. And just make sure that that's something that's okay to cut up.
Even if it's yours?
Yeah, ask yourself, is this okay for me to cut up? Am I going to be okay with that? I think that's a good question to ask. And then because we are using scissors and adhesives, just make sure that you're following the rules in your house about having sharp things out and having either glue or tape out as well.
Make sure it's a surface that you can work on and get glue on. And if you can't, then make sure that there's a nice big piece of paper or some other cloth underneath you.
Yeah.
But paper is better because it's a hard surface.
I like a piece of cardboard.
Piece of cardboard.
Yeah. If you're not on a table that can get dirty. And then we'll get started. Okay. Yeah? Okay. What's the first thing we need to do, Roy?
I think we need to remove all of the pages from a book. Right? Okay. So I already started this one, but...
Oh, you did?
I had before, but we have a new one.
Okay, we have a brand new one here. What's the best way to get these pages out? Can you show me in yours?
The best way, here I'm going to start on the back side. So I would like to leave this first page intact.
Okay.
Do not pull that out, but it may want to pull out. So we're going to try. But the first thing is I'm going to just take out the first page. Right?
Okay, just to get it going.
Just to get it going, because it's also glued onto this other page. Ooh, this is good paper. Right? And then what you want to do is not tear out a huge bunch. You just want to do a little bit. Maybe 3 or 4 pages.
Oh, whoa.
Right? Because they come right out.
Okay, just like 3 or 4 pages at a time.
Right. Because the way that a book works is that it's actually glued. The end of the pages are glued onto the backing.
Okay.
So all you're doing is you're removing that, and they're also folded. Right? So there are little bunches inside of a book.
Do you know what those little bunches are called?
No, what are they called?
They're called signatures.
Signatures?
Yeah, like just when you sign your name is also called a signature, and this is called signatures as well, and you put all the signatures together in order to make the book. Oh man.
It's kind of fun.
It is kind of fun.
And what you want to make sure is that you're removing everything. So even if you have a little bit that hasn't been torn out, just keep moving along to the next pages because you can go back to those.
Oh, yeah. And what if you're having trouble ripping your pages out?
Maybe you have too many pages that you're trying to rip out. So rip out
fewer pages.
And maybe you need help. This could also be a team effort where one person takes out a few pages.
Oh, yeah.
And then you take turns because I think you and your buddy are going to want to both tear out the pages.
Oh, yeah. If you're doing this with someone, maybe one of you's better at tearing out pages than the other person. Too. That could be.
And so here I have a little bit of that. I'm just going to move on to the next.
Okay. We're just going to go.
And sometimes those come out.
And what if...
And then what you can do is turn it around and come at it from the other
side. Okay. So we're ripping out all these pages. Should I throw all these pages in the trash?
No.
No?
No.
What should I do with them?
Well, maybe you have a book that has pictures in it.
Oh.
So maybe you want to use some of those pictures for your collage.
Oh, that's what I did in my first one.
Right.
This is the first one I made. This is called The Fantastic Voyage. That's just the title I gave it. And a bunch of these dinosaur images were actually in this book.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you added others.
I added others. And so that also helped me pick a theme.
All right.
When I was trying to make my journal, because I wanted the cover to have a theme, and I really love birds. And I like that birds are like dinosaurs.
They are like dinosaurs.
So I picked my theme for that one to be all birds and dinosaurs. And that really helped me find images that I wanted to use for my collage while I was working.
And if you don't use any of these pages, they should find their way into a recycling bin. Right?
Yeah, or if you were going to have a fire outside, if it was a burn day, and we were allowed to have a fire outside.
With permission.
With
and
permission
with someone
and
who knows what they're
supervision.
doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so now we have all this.
You know what else I've been thinking about is making paper. And you know what's funny about making paper is that you need paper to make paper. So if somebody in your household knows how to make paper, or if that sounds like fun to you, you could look up how to do that and use all this paper that we're tearing out to make new pages of paper.
So here I'm going at it from the side.
And Roy's really strong.
Yeah,
Stronger
so this
than
isn't
me.
super easy to do.
No. All the other ones I've done have been smaller than this.
Yeah.
This is a whole new experience for me. Oh,
And what
I'm
you
trying
can
to do
do
too much.
is you bend it back, and that'll give you a greater handle on the little pieces.
Greater handle on the little pieces. I got a whole bunch of crazy pieces in here.
Yeah.
What if you just can't get them out? Could you use something sharp to cut them down?
You could, but again, that should be with supervision because it's very easy to slip and to hurt yourself or somebody else. So if you're working with a buddy, you want to make sure that you are always, whenever you're using something sharp, you're using it away from your body. Never pointing towards yourself or somebody else.
No. You know what? If you liked how crazy these were, I feel like you could almost incorporate them into your journal.
You could.
Right? If you really liked, maybe some of your little tiny pieces look like,
Oh,
I don't know. Did you tear it? What happens if you do tear your book?
Well, we have tape.
And we're going to use the contact paper. And the contact paper is going to hold everything together. It really is like a giant sheet of tape.
And this part right here, if you wanted to.
I'm doing it right now. I'm tearing mine apart.
I see.
So, it's going to happen. We're going to show you.
One of the things that you can do is you can glue another piece of paper right over this seam, and that'll make it stronger. Right in here.
Yeah, and sometimes...
And if you have this page, if it's still on there,
you could just glue that right over.
Put it right there.
Oh, I like that. I like that idea.
So you have all these little bits. Now, whenever you're using glue, glue is wet. Right, so it needs time to dry. So if I'm going to use glue, and for this part of it, a little bit of glue will work better than, say, a glue stick. But if you only have a glue stick, you can still use that. So what I like to make sure when I'm using glue is I use a tiny bit, and I like to spread it like this. If you use too much glue, then it takes longer to dry, and sometimes it bubbles up. And I found that when I was a kid, that would be very frustrating for me.
Even as an adult.
Oh, yes, as an adult.
It's also frustrating.
The other thing right here So
that's a lot of glue.
It is. But what you can do, so you have one of these. I'm going to fold it. So it's a little bit strong. And then I'm going to use it.
Oh, as a tool. You just made your own tool. That's cool. Look at you have some fun pictures in yours too.
I do, yeah.
I saw when we were packing the kits that some people had really neat maps and drawings and things in their books.
Right. And now this has a little bit of glue on it, so I'm going to put it on another piece of paper so that I don't get glue somewhere else.
You can even just put a piece of paper all the way over it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. And now I'm going to start on the inside and push it into this little crevice, right? This little fold right here.
The spine.
Into the spine. And all the way this way. And that way I don't have any bubbles right here.
Ooh, look at my book is called Family Honor. I kind of love that. I'm going to tear that out. I was just thinking about when you see certain things, sometimes it's really fun to just hold on to them for the final product, right? So I'm going to pull that out. It might inspire the theme.
I have this. Right, a nice cover. And this is pretty thick, right? So we're not going to put that many pages in here.
No, we don't need to put that many pages in there. I've just been thinking if you put in a certain number of pages, let's say you put in 10 pages and you fold those in half so you end up with 20 pages and that's both sides of each page, that's like 40 pages. That's a lot of pages. And then if you finish all of that, you could add more pages if you still have room.
Right.
You know? So if you use your journal for a year and it's all filled up, or even you use it a lot over the next couple of weeks, you could just decide to put more pages in later. It doesn't need to be right now.
Which means that if you're doing something like that, you would put your pages on one side, and then it would kind of be like a binder. So you have pages on this side instead of putting them right in the middle. You would put it to one side.
Yeah, and notebook is another word for binder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's our birds again. Do you hear them?
I do.
They were in our last recording as well.
Okay,
I just got mine, and I was really hard on mine. So mine's coming apart. And I was able to save a piece of paper just like Roy was able to do. So I think I might do the same thing. I actually have two. I saved both of mine. So I don't know how I'm going to work on this, but I think what I might do is remove one and do exactly what you just did.
Right. But I would maybe put this over, right, and cut it right there, and then put the other one over. So you have double
it's double strong? Okay. Did you see what Roy just did there? He came up with such a good solution because I was just about to pull this whole thing out. And instead, somebody else was like, wait, don't do that. Because you already have something that's in the book that could help it become a little bit stronger.
It's already part of it.
It's already part of the book. So always think before you just rip something out. Even though we just ripped all these pages out. Okay.
And the glue is going to take a little bit to dry. So if you wanted to do this and set it aside, you can. Again, putting this with some weight on top of it will help it. And this wouldn't have to be overnight. You could maybe do this, let it sit for a half hour.
Oh, yeah. You're totally fine.
That.
We're going to cover the whole thing with contact paper. It's going to get more glue. You're totally fine. Okay. I am thinking about how to do this in the smartest way. So I've made a fold here. I pulled it down and I ran my finger, like the front part of my thumbnail along that edge to basically do what's called scoring it. So I just scored this piece of paper. It's kind of like making a fold that's not super tight. It just lets you know where to cut. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, you know what, I'll take the pair of scissors that you have in your kit just so you can see how those work. One of the most important things about scissors is that you're cutting away from yourself and that you can always see the blades and where they're going. Mm-hmm. And I like to keep my shoulders pretty straight when I'm cutting things and have kind of like a big breath and some good posture, right? Sit up straight and think about, okay, what am I doing here? I'm cutting away from myself and I'm holding the other part of the paper with my other hand. And I'm just going to cut away like this. And I'm just going to do little cuts. Mm-hmm. There we go.
You're not in a hurry.
No, and nobody's going to see this, so it doesn't have to be perfect either.
Right.
So I'm going to keep this piece of paper because it's the same color and it's such a beautiful color. And Roy just stole my family honor.
Sorry.
So I'm going to take that back.
Here,
okay, I can take these as well. Thank you. Okay, what's the next part?
Well, we should start looking at collaging materials, no?
Yeah, because we need to do all of our collaging before we put in the pages. Mm-hmm. Right? So I think it's best, I mentioned this before when I made the fantastic voyage journal over here, that I made a theme. And I sort of collected a bunch of images from magazines and from the book itself that were birds and dinosaurs. And then I also I found some cool images of outer space. Yeah, those are the rings of Saturn. And I also
have another planet.
Really like, I think that is Neptune. And I put in some cacti too, I think.
Mm-hmm. Here's some blossoms.
Yeah, I really like cactus, prickly pear, and things like that. So I pulled some of those images. The most important thing is that you have fun while you're making your journal.
Oh yeah, that's the whole point.
Yeah, and it's really easy to have more fun if you pick things that you like.
Right. To
start with.
And also, this is where the art happens. You know, the process of making it is the process of making the artwork.
Yeah.
Right? And I think of these as artwork. I don't treat this any less than anything else that I work on.
You're making something.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a maker.
And you take your time picking out the things. If you want to, you know, like we suggested before, color these in or use these as inspiration. Use other pictures, right? Maybe you love dinosaurs, but you want to draw your own. So pick out some pictures that you really like, draw those, and then you can cut those out. It's kind of like making your own record to make the mix.
You also can use things just from the box. If you really want to have like a Camp Dreamtree field guide journal, you can use the stickers, right? You could use the stickers as a guide too if you want to make your own drawings. Oof. Mine is not nearly as smooth as yours is.
But you're going to cover it.
I am going to cover it. Okay, that's a good reminder. I'm going to cover it. So it doesn't have to be perfect is what you're saying.
As far as the kits go, we also do not recommend that you use the cards. Right? You're going to need those for all of the AR experiences. So leave those out.
Yeah, but use the coloring pages, use the stickers if you want to.
The cards have a little extra around them, so you could use those details.
Oh yeah, you could use those details. That would be really fun. You could even use things like, you could take a picture of yourself, and if you had a printer, you could print that out, or you could ask if you could use found photographs around the house, and then you could like make images of people you know or yourself.
You could make it for somebody.
Oh man, gift journals. I like that idea. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry, and I'm gonna fold it and let it dry so that maybe I can get some of this wrinkle problem to take care of itself. Oof. I don't know. That's okay.
So we're gonna let this dry. Maybe this would be a good moment to pause the video.
Yeah, and just decide what kind of images you want to collect. I think the most important thing to do is give yourself a little bit of like a goal. So I did find this word joy. I really like this word. This was from a car advertisement. It was like the joy of Camry.
Okay.
But I just liked the way that the joy looked. So I went ahead and pulled it out, and I'm setting it aside. And if you just take something like an old calendar or a magazine and you go through it, and if you don't have a lot of things like that, maybe you don't keep magazines or publications at home. The other thing I really love is packaging for food.
Mm-hmm.
Like we get yogurts, and the covers of the yogurts are so beautiful. I'm always saving them.
Right? The little rocket ships.
Yeah, little rocket ships. Right, so fun.
We also included other stickers, right? These funky sticker sheets that have these sort of vintage images.
Oh, yeah.
But here are some stickers that were just in the house. And if you have smaller friends, you probably have a lot of stickers that are just everywhere.
It's possible.
So these are just eyes. We can use those as details.
You know what we haven't talked about is you can make a journal that's just shapes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't actually have to make
imagery.
Any images. You could even just make a big scribble and start coloring and then cut that out and then put that on your journal.
Because once you put the contact paper down, it sort of
seals
pulls it all in, and it makes it look very professional.
Yeah.
Professional journal.
Professional journal. I really like animals. So I just saw this really great elephant image here, and I'm going to look at how fun that is, that it's walking in from the side. So you can almost see it in your head already that if you cut it out, it could kind of be walking across the front. It should be coming in, or maybe on the inside, it's like back behind your pages or walking in from the cover this way. So starting to look at some images.
And this is a good time to talk about cropping, right? So you don't have the whole elephant, and that's okay. If you place it the way that Corinne is saying, right here, or even at the bottom, it doesn't matter that on this side you don't have the rest of it. Oh, but you definitely want this picture. Look at those guys.
I love bats. So I just found this big bat image. And the other thing is that you may have a really good idea for what you want your journal to look like, but then you might have trouble finding those images. So you can always make your own. So if you want to make a journal that's covered in dolphins because you love dolphins, you should just draw your own dolphins if you can't find pictures at your house. But then if you're going through and you're looking for things and you're really not finding dolphins and that was your initial idea, you can change your idea at any time. So one of the things I've learned as an artist is don't get too stuck on that first idea.
It's about adapting and sort of following where the project leads you. Look here, it says explore. That's perfect for this.
It's kind of like when you go to make dinner, or someone else in your house is making dinner, and you thought you had the ingredients to make one thing and you don't. And then you just sort of look around the kitchen and say, okay, well, what do we have?
Something else sounds good too.
Something else sounds good too. So you can just make a different kind of journal. Okay. So let's start looking. Yeah? Okay. Did you want this?
Sure. It says the cowway.
The cowway. That's fun. It's about oat milk.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think it is. All right. We're going to start looking. You go ahead and look. And if this is where you need to stop, go ahead and stop us. And we'll see you in a little bit. Okay? All right. Here we go.